Hi everyone, Ryan Power here, beauty business coach, and in this video I'm going to give you 5 ways to be more productive and get more done. So kicking straight off with number 1, and it's a bit of an obvious one really. I have found one of the keys for me getting more and more done and being more productive was getting up earlier. Now I know that seems so obvious, but it is true. I find that if I get up early, then I just get more done. And part of the reason for that is because there are far less distractions. I like to get up at maybe 5 o'clock, sometimes even earlier. And the reason why is because you don't get any telephone calls, you don't get any instant messages come through, you don't even get any emails come through. And I find that in between the hours of sort of 5 and 7, I can get more done in that time than maybe the rest of the day combined. Now, do I have to sacrifice something for that? Yeah, absolutely. I generally have to sacrifice an hour or 2 of my evening, meaning I go to bed that much earlier. But think about what you're really doing in those hours after 9 p.m. Most people are just watching crap junk television, which is in no way helping their lives, unless you want to call it entertainment, of which much of it is not really very entertaining anyway. So I would rather be at bed and then be able to get up earlier the next day and boss my day. So the second way to be more productive, which follows on from that, is to have a morning routine. Now your life is going to be made up by the habits that you have, so think about what you do each and every morning and work on a routine that works for you. There's obviously hundreds of books and videos on this topic, and so much has been written about morning routines. It's taken me a long time to nail down my own because I've tried lots of things, some of which have worked well and some haven't. I find that I like to meditate in the mornings, I like to run through affirmations, I like to check on my day's plan so I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. Absolutely essential for me is to do some exercise because it gets the blood flowing, and it really helps me get switched on for the day. And of course, drink lots of water to get hydrated too. There's so many other things you can try, but experiment with your morning and see what works for you. Okay, my third way, third way, and this is an absolute beaut. This is something I recommend to all of my coaching clients, and that is to plan out a weekly timetable, okay? Now, think back to when you were at school. Your day was determined and dictated by your timetable. You knew exactly where you had to be, you knew exactly what you had to be doing, and exactly how long you'd be doing it for. And then, as soon as we leave school, the first thing that happens is the timetable goes out of the window. I would recommend to you that you consider making yourself a timetable, because actually sometimes we have too many choices of how to use our time, especially as business owners, particularly if it's only you working in the business, because you've got so much stuff to do. So what I would recommend that you do is actually timetable out your week, and it's really important to divide it up to make sure that everything has a fair chunk of your time which is important to you. So for example, you don't just timetable in there your working hours, but also you should be timetabling in time with your family, maybe a date night with your other half, maybe the time to go and help your kids with their after school activities, or taking them to the cinema, or whatever it might be. For me, walking the dog, that's timetabled in every day. It could be anything. Maybe it's going and visiting an elderly relative who you want to see more regularly. Anything that is important to you should be in your timetable, including you time. So whatever you like to do to really enjoy your life and relax and unwind, you must timetable that in there, and you should stick to these appointments as importantly as if they were paid appointments with a client. Your downtime is important. It will help your sanity, and let's be honest, that is part of the reason why we're all running our own businesses in the first place, to be able to then have the freedom and the time and the money to do what we enjoy doing. So you've got to make sure you schedule that time for yourself. Really important, that one. Okay, my fourth way to be more productive and get more stuff done is when you're working within your time blocks, just focus on one thing. Okay, don't have 16 different tabs open, trying to work and flip between lots and lots of things at once. There has been loads of studies to show that multitasking does not work. The human brain cannot process multiple tasks at once. It has to flick in between them, and even though that might only take a very short period of time, so you think you're doing two things at once, actually you're not. So my recommendation would be just to focus on one thing. And of course, it should be the most important thing, the thing which is going to take you closer to where you want to go. Whatever that task might be, you probably know it's probably the one you don't want to do, but you've got to force yourself to do it instead of doing all those little itty piddly tasks, which actually are pretty inconsequential when it comes to your overall goals. If you can get in the habit of focusing on that big thing and working on that relentlessly until it's done, you will start to become a production machine and you will just get so much more done. Now, finally, my fifth tip, which again follows on whilst you're focusing only on one thing, is to turn your mobile phone off. Okay? Now, nowadays there seems to have been this sort of idea that if people don't respond instantly, then there's a massive problem. But let me tell you something, your business is not going to fall apart and your world is not going to crumble if you don't reply to a text message for 45 minutes or however long it may be. So if you really, really want to get productive, then when you're working in these time slots, get your phone turned off, okay? Turn off Messenger, turn off messages, or use your do not disturb feature. If you've got an iPhone, if you think that some important calls might still come through, then you can do that, but it means you're not going to get bothered by nonsense coming through off of Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram or what have you. So there you go, they are my top 5 tips to be more productive and get more done. I'd love to hear what your top tips are for the same, so please leave a comment underneath either saying your top tip or which of those has really resonated with you. I'm Ryan Power, see you next time.